Well, that was a delicious recipe. I wanna have a bite. So that was wonderful. Well, we all go through unexpected things in our life, unexpected seasons, unexpected news, things that can really knock our knees out from under us, that can take the wind out of our sails and really leave us with shipwrecked faith. That's why I really am so excited about the guest we have today. She has been living a miracle for over 16 years and absolutely making the best of each moment, not being a victim, but being a victor. And not only just having a full, precious, amazing life, but also helping others to see the beauty in their situations. And so, Evelyn, it's so great to have you today on the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
I met you years ago at a women's business event, and you had the most adorable little business card, and it had just your name and it said blogger. And at that time, blogging wasn't, a household word like it is now. And I was so intrigued, and you were so gracious. You said, "Oh, I'll teach you, I'll help you." And I've never gotten rid of that card. And so I love full circles. But at that time, I remember that you and our mutual friend Kim shared about your son, and then I started following you on different social media platforms, and so I'm so happy. Your first book, which I know you've been on a lot of programs, Miracle in My Living Room, and I love how it says the story of a little man, and that's your last name. So let's just start. Can you just tell our viewers about Samuel and about how his story started in 2005?
Well, actually, it's a beautiful love story. I'm going to start with my husband.
Yes, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. We met on ChristianCafe.com.
Wow.
Yes, and 3 years to the day that we met, we got married. And just like anybody who's a brand new couple, you're just excited, and then 6 months later to find out you're pregnant and the joy that comes with that, and first child, and it's just that euphoria.
Yeah.
And then we went to our sonogram appointment, where you find out if you're going to have a boy or a girl, and that's just an exciting moment for any couple.
Yeah.
But when we saw the sonogramist was very quiet, I thought, okay, maybe she's just waiting for the doctor to let us know if we're having a boy or a girl. And then we went into the doctor's office, and it was a while for him to come back in. And that's when he said, there's a problem with your pregnancy. Your child is not growing the way we expect it to at this point, around week 20. And so that was the start of a roller coaster.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So how did you, I know you're a woman of faith and your husband's a man of faith, you get this report. What were the doctors advising that you do?
Well, we heard more often than not the option of termination, and I thank you for bringing up that my husband and I are people of faith, because that was our firm foundation. As a matter of fact, the day that they told us that it could be one of 3 diagnoses, all of them not compatible with life, that day you would imagine would be the worst day. And I don't know how to explain it, except for God gave me the peace that passes all understanding, and it bounced off I heard it and I understood what they were saying, but it was a peace that I hadn't, that verse, I lived it that day.
Yeah.
But what was really amazing is when I went to lunch with my husband, I said, well, should I bring this up, with this peace I felt? And so I brought it up to him, and he looks at me and he goes, yeah, I felt the same way.
Wow.
And I almost get to tears thinking about it right now, because God gave us the peace that passes understanding at the same
time. How precious is that?
Yeah.
So you knew that was your answer, that you were going to trust the Lord and move forward and believe for a miracle.
Absolutely.
Now, miracles don't always look the way that we want them to look. Sometimes, we have an expectation of God and we hope against hope and we have a plan and then we get disappointed if God doesn't do it on our terms the way we wanted. So here you are, and you give birth, and so tell us about that.
Well, I really appreciate that you brought that up, because miracle, I think most people have this vision of it's an instantaneous thing.
Yeah.
And it happens. And Samuel lived a day, so they weren't expecting him to live a day. Then he lived another day. Then he lived another day. We were celebrating every month that he made it. The first month we were celebrating. The second month we were celebrating, because we didn't know if we would be able to celebrate his first birthday. So our miracle was he survived, and our miracle continued because God had other plans.
Yeah.
It was just a longer process, and I really appreciate that, because I want everybody to see that miracles have different shades and colors and different shapes.
Yeah. So you and your husband go from celebrating every day, every week, and every month to fast forward to us today.
Oh, yeah.
And how old is little Miracle Samuel?
So Samuel is 16 years old.
Yay, God!
I know. He'll be 17 in August of this
Wow.
year. And, there's so many blessings to him.
Yeah.
I think people see the glass half empty, and that glass is half full. I don't see the empty, I see the full.
Yeah.
I mean, he laughs, he's full of joy. A lot of times at night, he'll be giggling. He just has a giggle fest, like right before he goes to bed. And I've tried to video it, but, it's dark in his room, I can't really quite video. But when I say it's a miracle in my living room, I could also say there's joy in my living room.
Yeah.
There's happiness, there's this full of life.
Yeah.
Love.
Vivacious.
Yes, and full of life instead of what was predicted originally.
Right.
And like you talked about full circle, us, meeting, this is full circle in that God has done a work in him that we wouldn't believe if we were told back then.
Right. You never thought. Now tell me, because I know that many, the statistics say that marriages that have, a medical diagnosis or have extreme circumstances, many times the marriages don't work. So how have you and Ralph been able to just stand on the word and just not let it get to you, safeguard your marriage?
It was really interesting. Those first, Samuel was in the hospital for 6 months, and so I would go, 3 times a day to go visit him, and my husband and I would come at night, and we'd be with him as long as we could. And people would come up to us and say, marriages don't really last that long. And I'm like,
thanks a lot.
We're standing right here. But we heard it over and over and over again. I think, I wanted to have a husband that was a man of faith, and the Lord brought me my husband through ChristianCafe.com, and my husband wanted a wife that would be strong in the faith. And those two together combined, but my husband is an amazing husband. He is creative. He has made so many things to make Samuel's life better.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever a thought in his mind of anything other than being Samuel's dad and helping him through life. Like, there's this little chair that he modified so the chair wouldn't tip over. I mean, just things like that, creative things. He's an amazing father.
That's wonderful. God has given him that creativity for his son. Now, the disease, what is the proper diagnosis? I do know that he's one of 7 children, so it's very rare, right?
There's a lot of pregnancies, but I think a lot of doctors, say, well, this is not compatible with life. Would you like to make a decision? So I think that's primarily. So I think the number of pregnancies is higher, but the number of survival is less. I believe it's around 12 right now, up to 12 worldwide that survive. And I just want to say too that survival. When I wanted to give birth to my son, whether it was a minute or an hour or a few hours or a year or 16 years. Just to give that opportunity to meet your child.
Yeah.
And have that time with your child. So it's important. You know, all of it's valuable.
I agree. God is the giver of life.
Yes.
And we don't get to dictate the terms of life, but every experience, every moment is a gift.
It is.
And it's a joy.
Yeah.
So that's so important, because I know that is such a struggle right now with so many women, especially when they respect someone in the medical profession and they respect their wisdom and they feel like they should succumb to it. But we have a doctor named Jehovah Rapha that is bigger and more wise than any other practicing doctor, and that is who we listen to.
And that was my misconception early on too, because I thought, you know, when you get sick, what do? You go to the doctor, they fix it. You know, you go to a plumber, they fix your plumbing. You know, you go to a car mechanic, they fix your car. And you have a problem, you go and they fix it. I had no idea that there would be a situation where they didn't know how to fix it.
Yeah. Because we live in a time that science seems to be able to fix a lot of things that ail us, especially living in the United States of America. Yeah. So, but God is getting the glory.
Yes.
For Samuel's story.
Absolutely.
Now, two things I love. One is that you made a decision at some point, I am going to share about this miracle in my living room. I am going to share with others how to overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And you didn't keep God's miracle to yourself, but you started writing, and you started doing Instagrams and posting, and you started a community, and you started helping other special needs parents. And so it became a ministry. It became your family ministry. So share how some of those experiences, you would have never done that had you not had this beautiful boy.
You know, I think God uses each person and gives them an opportunity to be a light for him. And for me, it was Samuel. That was the way he chose to do that. I think it's just amazing that I've had that opportunity. But I will tell you, when I was going through the trial, I knew that I was in it, and I couldn't share at that point. Yeah. I didn't have that ability to share. I didn't have it, we talked about full circle earlier. I didn't have the full circle. When the Lord just brought us through and got us to a place of peace, you know, Samuel's healthy at this point for his diagnosis, then I was able to look outward. Yeah. You know, and then say, well, who else needs to know that miracles happen? Who else needs to know that miracles happen today? Yeah. Who else needs to know that it may not look the way you think, but it might be a short, quick thing. It may be a long time thing. It may be whatever you're going through, that you can go and turn around and help others. And only you can do that. So everybody has a purpose. Everybody has that. And sharing the book, I think, with others, my desire was that it would give others hope, that nothing's impossible with God.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And I know it has. So what are some of the testimonies? I know you work with a whole community now, and you consult and you coach and you minister, you inspire, and you equip others that don't have the victory yet, or that are really in the fiery furnace.
And you know, some that don't get the victory. So there's a lady that reached out to me recently, and her name is Leanne, and she's in the United Kingdom, and her daughter, Grace, did not live a long time. So she didn't have that miracle that you're talking about, but she is so moved by Samuel, and it brings her to tears to see him. And I think vicariously seeing Samuel helps her heal in her healing journey. Yes. And that is something I didn't expect, but is a privilege and an honor to be able to reach out to other people. And then other people have looked at Samuel in his eyes and said, wow, you know, and made them think about their whole life. I had a lady email me and how she thought about her whole life and seeing him, meeting him once. He doesn't speak. He doesn't use words, but that's a God thing, that he can touch others that way.
Well, there's a quote that says, you know, preach the gospel, use words sometimes.
Yes.
And so just the agape love of God flows through him, the Hasid of God. Just that love is the most powerful weapon in the world. And you know, when you look at pictures of Samuel, and I know that they're showing some in the videos, you see love. It's just liquid, heavenly Abba love that pours out of him. And that is a miracle. Love is a miracle.
Yeah. You said that so well, and it shares his essence, right? That he receives love and he just gives out love, and we receive the love from our Heavenly Father, who loves us with a love that you can't imagine. And that is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Well, your newest book, Thriving Through Your Trials, Devotions of Miracles, Faith and Prayer, is special, you know, and this is your second book after you did, you know, The Miracle in My Living Room. But we only have a few minutes, and I thought, I had a couple quotes, but let's just go with the last one. And I want you to just kind of speak to it, minister to it for anyone watching. I know God has used you on Instagram and through a Bible study, and to continue to let your light shine. But this one says, hold tighter to God's grip. And, you know, I love how it says, don't be baffled, you know, and then it says, God has not left you. And so could you just, you know, look at the camera, speak to someone that they're baffled, and they want God to come through in a way that he hasn't yet, and just minister to them the way that you do so eloquently. Thank you.
I think that, especially that last devotional in the book, I think what's special is that I thought I had been through the trial, and that trial of 6 months, Samuel being in the hospital for 6 months, and you fast forward, you know, 11, 10, 12, 13, 14 years, and then another trial comes up, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was done with that. I thought I was done with trials. What do you mean there's another trial? Are you kidding me? And you might be feeling that way right now. I just want to encourage you to hang on to God, and hang on to hope, and hang on to miracles, and pray and seek God through the Word and through the Bible, and gather some godly women around you that can support you in that way. That is what helped me through that. But I just don't want you to be surprised when trials come, because we need to hold on to God's heavenly hand. We need to hold on to his firm grip through it, and he will get you through it. And the thing is, he won't let go. He's not going to let go of your hand. You just got to reach up and hold it. So just don't be surprised at what happens.
I love that. That was such a golden nugget, and there's so many golden nuggets, you know, in this book. I know many of the viewers, you know, will want to connect with you. I'm so happy you're doing a Zoom call, Bible study once a week on Instagram, and you can connect with her through that. And I love how that's going into the highways and the byways and compelling others to come in that wouldn't go to church.
Yeah. So I'm doing, it wasn't me, okay? I just want to say that starting out. I just asked during a God Nugget on Instagram if anybody was interested in a Bible study, and I had someone said yes, and so we started a Bible study, and it's a women's Bible study. We get together once a week. We go in the Word. We're in Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do abundantly and more exceedingly above anything that you ever ask or think. That's one of my favorite verses that we're going over. I love that one too.
According to his power that works in us.
Yes.
And his power is working through you, through your husband, through your son. Thank you for just being obedient and sharing your story and helping others in the process, and just giving hope. Hope is so important. And you know, today, if you need that hope, Jesus Christ is the answer. He loves you. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, and he changes not. Come home to Jesus. Come home to the faith. Come home to the power of the Holy Spirit. There are miracles in the making in your life, even if they don't look the way you want them to. Evelyn Mann and her family are proof. But God is with them. He will not let go of you, so don't let go of him. My name is Jen Mallon. Thank you for joining me on Come Home today.